Joining me now, Jonathan Martin, the Politics Bureau Chief and Senior Political Columnist for Politico. Jonathan, always good to have you with us. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Roby.
I am going to tout your upcoming visit to Little Rock at the end of our interview, but I want to start with the most dominant story of the week, and that is President Trump's tariffs and what they did to the
Right.
stock market, as well as kind of how there was some reaction in Congress. I want you to just kind of talk to me in general. Do you think that what he has been doing has been good politics for him?
Well, I'm looking forward to getting back to Little Rock later this month, April 21st to be exact. But on the Trump front, Roby, uh, look, one of the through lines in Trump's public life for the last 40 years since he became a kind of celebrity figure has been he believes that the U.S. is being taken advantage of by other countries financially, and we got to get even. And I think that explains his determination to go through with these tariffs in the face of all economic advice contrary, with a handful of exceptions. Certainly, in his party, there's great discomfort with this, and obviously, with the business community, there's enormous discomfort with this. I don't think it's good politics for him, simply because when the economy goes south and you've got days and days of bad headlines about the market, that translates to people being unhappy about their own status and checking their own 401ks. And his economic approval numbers starting to go south along with the stock market. So, no, it's bad politics.
The GOP in Congress is kind of publicly hiding their panic, but what are they saying privately?
Yeah, privately, they're incredibly eager for him to listen to people like the Treasury Secretary, who's much more of a traditional, pro free trade figure, or at least not as sort of wedded to tariff regimes others are around Trump. And look, this is a real culture clash, Roby, with Trump and the traditional Republican Party. It's one of the cleanest issues in which he simply is not a traditional Republican or a conservative for that matter. He does not believe in the kind of free market orthodoxy. He does believe in the power of tariffs, and the bulk of his party, especially in the Senate, which is where kind of the old guard still is, does believe in free markets. That's the Wall Street Journal wing of the Republican Party, and they just are on a different page when it comes to this stuff. Now, where it gets complicated is they don't want to break with him publicly because politics for Trump is all personal, Roby, as you know. So they kind of have to navigate this awkward moment in which they convey their feelings privately about tariffs, but in public offer some support or at least detachment. As I wrote this week, it's almost like they're color commentators up in the booth describing what's happening down on the field instead of actual participants in a co-equal branch of government, and that's it's striking.
We saw a few senators kind of come out, and I think there were seven of them that said we kind of want to take back our responsibility in our management of tariffs here. It doesn't seem like that's going to be a big enough kind of rebellion to make a change, or is it?
No, I'd be surprised if you saw a kind of public rebuke from the GOP controlled Congress to Trump on tariffs, absent a 30-40% drop in the market in which we're just in a global meltdown. I think short of that, you'll see a lot of private lobbying, a lot of sort of kind of good cop, frankly, with Trump in public, and then in private trying to sort of force him to the outcome they prefer. Really, what Republicans have been doing for 10 years now with Trump, Roby, is sort of trying to massage him, even manipulate him to try to get him to a better outcome and kind of his worst instincts.
Speaker Johnson in the House has had a little bit of a mini rebellion this week. It looks like he may have put it down by 2 vote margin, maybe something like that.
Right.
Kind of give people a background of what's been going on in this budget reconciliation
Sure.
process and this whole internal politics, particularly in the House, but there's a Senate component too. And what's the likely play out in your estimation?
Well, this is all about getting Trump, as he calls it, one big, beautiful bill to sign. Look, Roby, the entirety of Trump's legislative agenda is retaining the current tax rates that he put into place in his first term and doing a couple of things on the side, maybe taxes on tips or overtime. But the bulk of the agenda is just stopping tax rates from going up at the end of this calendar year. So that's what this bill is about. It's a procedural step to get in place an eventual vote on keeping the tax rates in place. And yes, doing a couple of other things on the border. But really, this is Trump's big bill. And so the challenge is you got narrow majorities in the House and Senate and the Republican Party, and you've got different factions of the Republican Party. It's separate from Trump. There's traditional small government conservatives who want to cut spending. And there's other folks in the party who are sensitive about cutting spending too much on issues like Medicaid, for example. So that's where the tension is. Now, when it comes to Trump, Roby, he just wants to sign a big bill and declare a victory. He doesn't want to get bogged down in the details of this stuff. But that's where the rub is. Precisely what this bill is going to look like, how much spending will it cut, what taxes does it cut, what rates stay the same, that kind of thing. And that's kind of the minutia of it. That's going to be hard to navigate as this year goes on. You saw it this week, two vote, passage of that bill. There's just not a lot of space for any kind of dissent. So Trump's going to have to crack the whip to get this thing to his desk by year's end.
Let me talk to you a little bit more generally about what we're seeing in terms of how Trump is redefining America in the world arena. Just this masculinity, this muscle. He's
Yeah,
going to potentially take Canada and Greenland and the Panama
right,
Canal and
right,
Europe's on the edge. Just kind of speak to how
sure,
the whole world, the whole world view is being altered right now
sure.
because of Trump's personality.
Roby, I'm glad you asked that question. It's a really important question because Trump is really a break from 100 years of American presidents who, put it in terms that Razorback fans can appreciate, was kind of between the 40-yard line, center left, center right. Well, Trump is a break from that. Trump has no investment in the kind of traditional deference to alliances or allies. He wants, being a real estate guy, he wants for the U.S. to acquire more land. He wants to put the U.S. in a stronger place, he thinks, for the 21st century. And that means, yeah, maybe we take Greenland. Now, where it gets complicated is you can't just take Greenland. Uh, the, the Danes, the Danes have ownership over the land of Greenland, and they're a NATO ally. And if you just go there and take over, that's a real change in American tradition that wouldn't just complicate relations with Denmark, but would really create challenges with every other country abroad. So, look, this is where it gets dicey, I think, Roby, for a lot of traditional Republicans. They'll kind of wink and nod or stay quiet with a lot of what Trump does. If he starts breaking NATO alliances and running roughshod around allies, it puts them in a really difficult spot.
All right, you're coming to Little Rock on April 21st for the Central Arkansas Political Animals Club. It's going to be at the Museum of Fine Arts. I have told people that if they want me to connect them with a ticket, to email me at roby@talkbusiness.net. So I'm going to get you a big audience there on top of
Can't
everybody
wait.
else doing that. I have to think that you're going to talk a little bit about Arkansas's powerful congressional delegation when you're
Yeah.
here. It's kind of amazing how many
Yeah.
championships they've lined up, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's striking, and it's kind of a reminder of the one-party rule in Arkansas in an earlier generation, where you had Democrats who, obviously Governor Bill Clinton, bumpers and Pryor, who really had SWAT. Even before then, Fulbright McClellan, who obviously had real SWAT in the Senate. This is kind of a return to that. It's a one-party state now; it's just R's instead of D's, Roby. But you have, members who've got gavels in both chambers of Congress, House and Senate chairmanships, and really give Arkansas a chance to punch above its weight politically in Washington. And it's going to be fascinating to see. I'm thrilled to get back to Little Rock. I'm looking forward to being there. It's possible I'm going to have some barbecue. May stop at Doe's. I wouldn't rule it out. And but seriously, it's always a treat to be with friends back in Arkansas, and maybe we can pass along condolences for the Hogs blowing it against Texas Tech there in the Sweet 16.
Oh, he went there. Oh, how far did LSU get in the basketball tournament this year?
It's a football school still. It's a
Oh, gotcha.
football school.
Gotcha. Okay. Don't forget to bone up on some Wilbur Mills before you come too. You're going to be
There
in.
you go. Powerful House Ways and Means Chairman. Exactly.
All
Yeah.
right, Jonathan Martin with Politico. Always good to get your take, and I will see you in a little over a week.
April 21st in Little Rock. Looking forward to it, Roby. Thanks a bunch.